Hey guys, welcome to Wrench to Drive. I'm going to walk you through assembly of the WPL C24 bug bouncer conversion. So the only downside to this build is there's a few things that I don't want to take apart on my prototype. So I'm just going to have to walk you through it via words instead of actually showing you how it goes. But I think you can manage, guys. It wasn't super difficult, and this is the first, this is the first try. So anywho. So the reason I'm not taking apart the hinge and whatnot is because these M2 uh, hex screws are a little prone to wearing out the screw end, just like Phillips screws, unfortunately. I'm not sure how much of that's the screws are little lackluster, and how much of that's the Allen wrenches that I'm using. I've got some old, fairly worn out ones. As you can see there, they've been worked on a few times. What I do to put this stuff together, guys, is I use a pair of vice grips, and all I do is I run the screw into each hole before I put it together the final time. And the reason for that is it cuts the threads and it reduces the amount of torquing you have to do, like the amount of oomph you have to put into the tightening. So that definitely improves the lifetime of the screws, guys. It takes a lot less oomph to crank them in with vice grips. So all you do is you get your screw started either with an Allen wrench or with the vice grips. You just grab it and work it in there. Don't have to grab it too tight. Just tight enough that it's not going to go anywhere. Then you cut those threads, and then you can either torque it in the last time or twist it in. With this, twisting works pretty well because there's nothing to get in the way when you get to the end. You can, if you grab it, real close to the head, you just twist that bad boy right in, and you're good to go. So anyways, that's the screws, and there's 6 of them. You start out with this cross brace up front, and the only difference between this piece and these other cross braces is that this one has some spacers integrated into it to keep the latches centered perfectly. So that one goes in the front, and then the rest of them are all the same. There's one missing because I didn't print out enough. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And this back one here, the hinge is just the hinge piece screwed to one of these braces. And I think, I'm trying to remember. I'll have to double check, guys. I think I drilled these holes, and I'm not 100% sure if I made one with holes already in it. If I didn't, I will actually do that and post it, because it's easier with the holes pre-drilled. So anyways, that's it, guys. You screw the hinge together with these 2 screws. You screw the cross brace in with 2 screws, and you screw the front cross brace in with 2 screws. That's all there is to it, guys. And then the rest of them, what I did was I used brad nails and hot glue. And all I did was I screwed it together first so it was solid, and then the cage is quite flexy, so you just kind of pull it back a little bit, put a dab of hot glue, put the post in, and then I used pliers. What I did, guys, is I put a dab of hot glue, put the brace in, started the nail, then grabbed the nail with the pliers and pushed it in the rest of the way. You have to be a little bit careful when you're doing that, guys, and always test the brad nail in each of the holes before you actually put the brace in case there's a little bit of gunk in there or whatever. Nail doesn't go as smooth as you might like. Typically with these, they're a little bit loose, so the glue actually, it serves 2 purposes. It kind of glues it, and it also makes it solid in the hole. And I mean, this is, this went together pretty easy, and it's pretty solid now, so I don't think there's a big problem with this technique, guys. I think it works okay for this build. All this infill guy, or not infill, all this support material, guys, I was just too lazy to clean it out. I didn't want to waste a bunch of time cleaning up the prototype in case there was problems. So that's the cage, guys, and you can get that all put together, and then you're ready to go. This thing's been pretty durable. I've been running it a little bit now, guys, and it's bounced around quite a bit. I haven't broken anything, so yeah, overall, I'd say, if anything, this might be more durable than the car at this point, guys. Alright, on to assembly. So all you need, guys, is a Phillips screwdriver. I think that's actually it. Oh, Phillips screwdriver, and I need a M2.5 whatchamacallit, hex driver for 2 screws, and I'll show you them when we get to them. You can use some sort of Phillips screws. You'll need 2 screws that did not come with the kit if you guys are building it from the kit. The ready to run version I can't really speak to. So guys, if you're taking apart the ready to run version and converting it, I'm not too sure if you're going to run into any wrinkles or not, guys, because I don't have one. I only have the kit version, but I don't believe you will. So you're going to need to take the body completely off, guys. And then what I'm starting with is just the axles with all the links attached. So I didn't take any of the links apart. I just unscrewed them from the chassis, and away we go, right? Try and keep it simple. And then same with the front. So the front's still all put together. I just took the servo horn off and left everything else put together. Oops. How did that go? Okay, we'll have to check that when I put it back together. Don't mess up my adjustment. Yeah, so there we go, guys. Pretty easy. And we're ready to get started. Now, for yours, like I said, if you got the pre-built one, you might run into a few little bits that are different, but don't worry about it too much, guys. You know, do a test fit of everything. See if there's anything you can spot that's going to give you grief, and you know, try to make adjustments before you start putting things together. But you know, for the most part, I think it'll be all right. This isn't that complicated of a build. So I'm going to start with the front, guys, and I'm using these plastic chassis rails. They're really bendy, guys, super flexy, but once you get this all put together, they seem pretty good. And if anything, flexible stuff kind of absorbs shock. So, you know, when you run into stuff, it's I think less likely to break things if it's flexible. The version of these that's on Thingiverse and Cults 3D actually has some bracing integrated into it to try and stiffen them up a little bit. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I put it in there because these were so flexy. I just thought it might be a little bit better to have a little bit of bracing in there. Guys, the bracing should go out because you're going to need to have a flat surface to mount the transmission on. So just keep that in mind if you're using the latest and greatest off of Thingiverse or Cults 3D. So I'm going to start with the servo tray. Oh, that's one more thing I'm not taking apart, guys. Again, the same reason these screws are a bit of a nuisance. All you do, guys, is it's just these latches. They're really easy. You run the screw through the post, and then run it out, and then run it into the latch, and you're good to go, guys. So really easy, guys. It's just a screw. The latch is held on. It should be a little snug. These work better if they're a little snug, actually, guys. So don't worry about getting them to be super loose. If there's a little bit of resistance there, they actually latch up nicer. You'll see on mine there's some hot glue. The latest version of this on the site has some reinforcement built into these posts. So far, that's the only thing I broke, guys, was one of these posts, and it was in a hard crash, and it's also been rolled over a bunch of times. And I was actually wondering how durable these would be, and the answer is not as durable as you might like. And it's for 2 reasons, guys. Fundamentally, they could be plenty durable, but I printed this sitting down like this. So these are one of those spiral jobbies that, you know, if you've seen any of my other stuff, you know I don't like it. What you get is a bunch of horizontal layers, and it's just ring all the way up. And all it takes is one bad layer adhesion, and it's going to break wherever that is. And in my experience, guys, that's, I don't know, the majority of the time when something 3D printed breaks, it's on a layer line, guys. So always keep that in mind when you're printing your parts, is try and make sure that you got runs of strength where you need it, not layers built up. With this, there wasn't a whole lot of choice. So all I did was I added some hot glue. I glued it back together and added some hot glue to beef up the area where it's potentially weak. This side turned out a little better. I just ran a bead of hot glue down each side, and like I said, the one that's on the websites now is a little more durable. So, it's designed a little more durable. We'll see if it actually is durable. So there you go. All right, guys. So all you do is you start out with a chassis brace or a chassis rail, and then you put in the end screw right here, guys. Oopsies. Oh, starting off dodgy, guys. Starting off looking like I don't know what I'm doing. All right. So one screw on each side to start with. And And these chassis rails are symmetrical, guys, so you don't have to worry about which goes where. The only thing I worry about is, like I said, getting that bracing material pointed outwards, because the inside has to be smooth like a baby. All right, so that's the front, and in the back, I added this battery tray, guys, and you can either add the elastic before you start or after. It's not super difficult, guys. All you do is get the elastic over these little loops here, like so. Oh, guys, you're going to need 2 elastics. This version, the first version I made, it only has one spot to put an elastic. I added another one because in mine, one elastic doesn't hold the battery that well. If you have a big crash, the battery can easily become unlatched. So for the good version, I added another one. All you do, guys, is get your rubber band through the orifice there. Having a little bit of trouble. Screwdriver works good. Yeah, apparently. Always easier when somebody isn't watching, right, guys? Alright, so once you get it in there, just use a little tape or some hot glue or whatever works, guys. And then it'll hold the elastic in place there, and you're good to go. And then the battery just goes underneath this elastic, guys. Alright, so then we'll get this installed. And I used the last 2 screw holes in this run of screws here, guys. The most forward 2. Don't get too frisky with the screws, guys. You can strip these holes quite easily. Much like the WPL truck itself. There we go. Yeah, still lots of flex, guys. Don't worry, it starts to go away soon. Alright, so let's put the back suspension in first, guys. So this isn't too hard. Oh, one thing you got to do, guys, I forgot. I missed a step. Sorry. Make sure that these links fit into the holes in the frame rails. Okay, guys? Like it's just like on the WPL. They need to actually, these little ends here, guys. They need to actually tuck into those holes. So you might need to clean out those holes a little bit or drill them a little bit. Whatever you need to do, do it, guys. So they need to fit into those properly. And once you get that good, then you can put it together. So I'm just going to set this down here, guys, because it's kind of hard to do when it's up in the air. And remember, top links go top, bottom links go bottom, right, guys? And let's make sure, yeah, okay, it's all good. Alright. So you get that in there, thread your screw in. Not too tight. You want to make sure that those links will still articulate nicely. Right? What's suspension without articulation? Never fails, guys. Trying to do it for the camera is an adventure. We'll edit this down so it isn't so fugly. If you see some jerking around, you know I made a in the video, you know I made a boo-boo, not jerking around like jerking around in the video. You know I made a boo-boo and I edited it. All right, there we go. And that's a little snug. No, it works good. Okay, and then we're going to connect the shocks. Same thing, guys. Make sure those shocks fit into the holes in the chassis rails, so that you got nice, nice clean movement there. You don't want them to be, too sticky. Alright, shocks are attached. On to the front, guys, on to the front. So again, we're gonna set this in. This one's a little more tricky because the axle can actually kind of fall out, so I'm gonna rest it there. And then, oh yes, I'm gonna show you this, guys. On mine, there's a link that is definitely snug, and it's snug because it's rubbing on the axle. Check yours, guys. See if you got a problem similar to that, and you know, do something about it while you got it apart. I'm just gonna leave it because I'm not that worried about it. But make sure everything moves nicely, guys. Your truck will work better if everything moves nicely. Alright, it's not perfect, but it's not too bad, guys. Now the one thing, like I mentioned, there's one little spot you're going to need something that, you're maybe going to need something that doesn't come with the kit. I didn't go through my big bag of leftover screws, but these front shock spots, normally the shocks, the screw comes in right from the frame rail, just like on the back there, but on the front, the way I set this up, we don't have that option. So you have two choices, guys. Before you start this, if like now that you're watching me do this, if you're having problems and you can't get a screw in there, just take this tray out and grind away the material in the tray until you can get a screw in there properly, and your problem will be solved. Now if you're like me and you have some longer screws, you just thread in a longer screw, guys, and it'll work fine. So now if you don't have a handy dandy little grinding tool like this, you're gonna be fiddling away on that tray for a long time. So maybe what I'll do is I'll upload a better version of that tray. That's probably what I should do. I didn't really think about that, but now that I'm saying it out loud, I think what I should do is make a version of that so that the guys who don't necessarily have all the toys can still get this put together without too much trouble. Yeah, I'll do that, guys. I'll make another version of that. That's an easy fix. The reason I didn't, guys, just in case you're wondering, is because one of the things I wanted was multiple suspension mount points in this, and I miscalculated slightly in that the suspension mount points don't work so great with the stock shocks. I also have a set of aluminum shocks that I was thinking about using with this, and I haven't got around to trying them yet. So yeah, that's kind of my bad, I guess, guys. Always make sure it works stock right for the people that just want the look. Alright, here we go, all put together. Yeah, anyways, there we go. Next up, guys, transmission. Transmission, and on mine, it's the 2-speed, so the motor goes forward. Oh, I know, I got confused because the stock battery box is black. And on mine, the stock battery box is not in there. It's this fancy white one. Alright, let's do that again. One more try. One more try. Alright. There we go. One. This is probably the most fiddly part of this whole deal, guys. I've done it so many times it goes reasonably quick now. Alright, so then you get your transmission in. And anchor that bad boy. And you just need 4 screws, guys, because the body is not going to mount to using these screws. Oopsies. Oh, I can't find the hole. Where's the hole, guys? Where's the hole? Good grief. Good grief. Guys, I noticed this fit seems like it's a hair off, but I swear I measured very carefully, so I mean, I want to say that it should be bang on, but clearly it's not. It's looks like it's about a millimeter. It's about a millimeter less space than there needs to be, guys. The screws do go in, it's just a bit of a tight fit, so sorry about that. Again, if a better man than me would probably fix it for you, but I'm not going to. Alrighty. Almost there, guys. Almost there. These are all the stock screws that came with this thing, guys, so shouldn't have any trouble getting any of this to go together, assuming you were careful when you took it apart. Alright, and last but not least, we attach the body, the roll cage, the rolling cage. And all you do, guys, is you just one screw on each side using the very back hole on the rails. If you're trying to use the stock frame rails, guys, all you do is use the very not the very end. Use the 2 holes that line up with each end, guys. I don't know if that made sense. There should be the cage should only fit one possible way, guys. So I don't think it'll be that difficult. I hope I'm right. If anybody has any troubles, let me know and try to explain what you had problems with, and I'll see if I can address it if there's something not quite right. All right, there we go. All put together. So that's all there is to it, guys. And then we just have to install the electronics and whatnot. And I'll show you some of that right now. Might as well get her all put together. All right. So the way I did this, guys, and you can feel free to do whatever you like, but I use 2-sided tape to put the servo in. It's quick and easy that way. Oopsie, how's this? Okay. So the servo just lines up with the with the mounting posts there, and there's a screw hole ready for it if you want to use that, or you can just use 2-sided tape. So there's just a piece of 2-sided tape on the bottom of the servo, guys. You press it in, it's all good. Away we go. I'm going to double check my steering here, guys. So I got a battery hooked up. I got the radio here. Okay, servo is centered. We've already tested the linkage. This is a good chance to check your linkage, guys, and I'll show you how I have mine set up. And how's that? Yeah, pretty close. Okay. Oh, that actually doesn't look so good. I think I can go over one more, guys. So let's try and I'll show you in a sec, guys. servo horn is nice and snug. I've actually driven it with just the servo horn quite a few times, guys. It works pretty well. No screw, I mean, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, that's better. Yeah, we can live with that. Alright, so I'll show you this right away here, guys. I'm just going to put the screw in. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got the servo horn nice and straight. On these guys, having this at 90 is not as critical as it is on like a touring car or a rally car type setup. This is not the same. What you want, guys, is optimal movement both ways. And let's see if we can see this. You can see this is working pretty well in each direction. Servo's moving around a little bit. My two-sided tape might be a little worse for wear at this point, guys. Maybe I should put a fresh piece on there, but we'll live with it for now. So that's working okay. Oh, I don't have the motor hooked up. I was just going to test that. All I did, guys, is I just sat the radio right on top of the the servo, like so. Again, two-sided tape, guys. It's my best friend, in case you haven't heard me say that before. And then the receiver, I just taped to the back of the oops, not quite like that. I put it all the way over to one side. Stuck that in there, like that, guys. Try and get a good shot for you here. So, the ESC just stuck to the back. Radio stuck to the top, and then you just hook up the motors. I got these JST connectors on the motor. I'm not sure what stock comes with yours, guys, but those are super handy. Makes it really easy to take things apart if you need to. Yeah, and it works. Woo! All right. So that's that. And then all I do, guys, is I either use some electrical tape and tie up these loose ends so there isn't cables all over the place, or you can use a tie wrap. You can do whatever you want, guys. It's pretty painless no matter what you do. Oh, and I gotta hook up the gear shifting servo. Forgot about that one. All right, so let's do that. Just wrap a piece of electrical tape around this, like so. And things are snug and beautiful. And then you can put the battery in underneath that. The on-off switch, I'm not too sure where I'm going to put it, guys. I haven't decided yet. I just, all I do is I close up the chassis and I dangle it out the window, like that. So that's what I do, guys. Probably not the best way to do it, but I'm lazy. Oh, we got one cable with a little too much time on its hands there. So I'll have to fix that. Not right now. And then once you got her together, these latches just how can we do this here? These latches just unclip like that, and then you can open up the top, and then when you put it down, you just flip those latches shut, and they hold it pretty good. It hasn't I've crashed many a time, guys. It has not popped open or anything. Oops, it was off. All right, so all right, now we'll put these tires on. I was looking around, guys. I actually did find these. I'm going to put a link to them on my store. And they've gone up a little bit, guys. The cheapest I could find them was about 11 bucks Canadian, which is about 9-10 bucks American, something like that. And like I said, I got them for, I don't want to lie, but I'm sure it was like 6 or 7 bucks Canadian. It was really cheap. So I was worried for a sec there, guys. I thought I might have stripped one of these holes, but Well, the screw just had to go in a little further. Yeah, these tires look all right, guys. They're a little bit firm, as you know if you've heard any of my other banter on this subject. They're nothing to get too excited about, but I think they look all right on the car. They make the rock bouncer look pretty sporty. As you can see there, maybe caught it on the camera. I haven't glued them yet. They seem to work fine, not glued, so who cares? You can do whatever you want, guys. If you're uppity and you want everything just right, feel free to glue them. Alright, there it is, guys. Now guys, I do like these wheels. I think they look pretty cool. One downside is they're heavy, guys. There's quite a bit of mass to them, so if you crash this thing, it puts a fair bit of load on the suspension parts and the steering and whatnot. I would be a little bit careful about that, guys. If you're a kid or you're making this for a kid, with these big tires on there, it's actually a little more likely to break some of the stock stuff, I think. That's my nickel's worth. In some of the crashes I've had, there's been some horrible creaking and groaning noises in the crashes. And I don't know, so far nothing's broken except that one latch post, guys. But I don't know, I definitely have a feeling something's going to break at some point. And part of that, guys, is because I'm running the stock motor in this 2-speed transmission, and the one thing about that, guys, is the stock motor is geared for speed. It's a fast motor compared to those little 370s, I think it is, that comes with the transmission. The stock motor actually runs way faster with the same 2-speed transmission as those 370s do, because it turns more RPMs, guys. And the one downside is that this thing, I don't know, durability wise, I don't think it needs more speed. The way it's set up right now with a 2S LiPo with the 2-speed gearbox in high gear with that stock motor, it motors pretty good, guys. I mean, my best guess is it does a solid 20 kilometers an hour. Well, maybe not, 15 at least. I'll have to see if I can figure out how fast it's going one of these days, guys. But trust me, it's probably faster than the durability of this little rig is built for, guys. So there you go. It's all put together. You can obviously clean it up a little bit. You know, do something to make it look a little sportier. Maybe, you know, rig up a seat to put in there, put a little dude in it or something. Whatever floats your boat, guys. I don't know. I might do an interior for it at some point. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. You never know what'll strike my fancy. Yeah, so there you go, guys. It definitely goes good. There'll be a running video coming soon, guys. I just don't have a good place to run it right now. It's really crappy outside, and inside all the places where I can run it, the lighting is just terrible, guys. The video turns out just atrocious. So that's why no running videos. But trust me, it does go good, guys. It goes quite fast. So yeah, there you go. Why is that not turning very well? Something tight. No, oh, it's in low gear, that's why, guys. Low gear is quite low, guys. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the project. Wrench to drive or drive to wrench.